I'm curious. I would love to hear, the different ways to measure body composition, and then the fidelity or accuracy of those ways. And we don't have to go super in depth because, I know you do a bunch of research around DEXA. We take our members through DEXA, so we can spend most of our time on DEXA. But, even DEXA has its strong points and weak points. So I'd love to hear just really quickly the different ways that you think about body composition and accuracy or fidelity of that.
Great. And maybe let me circle one other thought when we think about body composition. A lot of people are afraid of the outcome. So body composition are these compartments when everyone in the media is focused on percent body fat, which is the amount of fat over weight, when in reality, that is the least helpful outcome. And I say that because you could maintain percent fat and change the other compartments. And so the motivation to get a measurement is not about percent fat. It really is about knowing how much fat mass you have, how much muscle mass you have, and how do your bones look, if that's an important part of, depending on your life stage. And so as we go into measurement, it does depend on what of those compartments we're trying to capture. And I also think it's really important. People are always so afraid of this taboo topic of, percent body fat, or I'm afraid to measure this, or I have to work out and be really fit before I go get my baseline measure. And I would say it's so valuable to get repeat measures at a normal lifestyle, because your body should change. You shouldn't always be the leanest. It does change just based on life. And so then knowing what those targets are. And then the question that you asked was, how do you measure it, and what are the composition techniques? I would say the most common right now, I know the members go through DEXA, but one that's more accessible is what we call bioelectrical impedance analysis. And that is, I like that because there's a range of accessibility. You could get a home scale where you simply stand on it without your socks on. Some of them have the handles, which creates more contact points. And those devices are reliant upon total body water. And that's really important because total body water is the most variable compartment in the body. And that's not just because of the fluid we drink, but because our muscles are full of water. And so those are really nice kind of affordable methods to be able to track. So for example, if you wake up in the morning and measure yourself repeatedly, at the same time of morning, they're pretty consistent. However, because fluid is so variable based on, when was the last time you went to the bathroom, how many carbohydrates did you eat, are you dehydrated, they are not as accurate, but it's nice as a tracking mechanism. And much of the technology now will give you the fat mass and the muscle components. The one thing it doesn't give us is bone, and that's where we start to see DEXA. And interestingly, DEXA was designed just to measure bone, so just skeletal integrity at the spine and the hip or the wrist. And that's an often clinical measurement where you would go, often women, not until their 60s, would be able to do a bone scan, and it's those single sites. What we now see a little bit more widespread, not as much in healthcare, but is to do a total body scan, and it relies on a low-grade radiation to identify density of tissue. So it allows us to identify bone, muscle, and fat mass. It also allows us to identify what I think is really important is regional distribution. Do you store more muscle or fat in your hips versus your abdomen, or your right side versus your left side? And it also gives us some of these initial bone values to identify how we might make some exercise, nutrition, pharmaceutical prescription.